That Sober Guy podcast contains adult content, merciless truth, and emotional nudity. Listener discretion is advised.
Thanks to humans for bringing us in, and thanks to you for supporting the show. Welcome to Sober Guy Radio. My name is Shane Raymer, in case you didn't know, and appreciate your support. Thanks to my family, thanks to my friends, my sponsor, all of you who listen to the show, and of course, the utmost respect and show of gratitude to God for guiding me and my family through this crazy thing called life each day. So big thanks to the man upstairs on that. Hope y'all are doing well. It's cool to sit down and get a little mic time today. I'm actually just about to head out on a plane to Philly in just a few hours here as I'm recording this. So as this goes live on a Friday, I will actually be in Philly. So I think we're going to do a little Philly episode with some of the guys. We're taking a guys trip out there. So about 5 homies of mine. We're going to do a little history tour. We're going to hit a Flyers and a Phillies game. I think we're going to try to get in a punk rock show or two at some old dive bar somewhere in Philadelphia and see a little music. Probably fart a lot, talk a bunch of shit. It should be a damn good time. And I'm the only dude who rolls who's sober. So kind of a cool thing for me to be where I'm at in my recovery, where I feel comfortable enough, to take a trip out with some good friends and be cool with that and be okay with that. I'm not recommending that to anybody out there. First and foremost, who maybe is early in their recovery, don't go hang out at a bar. Probably not a good. Actually, I don't want to tell you what to do, but I'm not telling you what to do. But in my opinion, if it were me, I would not be, especially my first few months, first year even of recovery, probably taking a trip to Philly, and putting myself in that kind of situation. For me, not a good idea. At the same time, I think it's a personal thing. If you feel comfortable where you're at, you feel like you're spiritually strong, you know your situation, you know the people that you're with, you understand that, that you may be going into situations where you may have to be very conscious of your feelings, and you're open to that, and you're strong in your recovery, man, do what you do. We can't live and hide under a rock. That's one thing I've always been pretty upfront about, is that I'm not, I don't drink, but I'm not dead. You know what I mean? I still have to go out. I still want to go out and do things. I want to have fun. I want to go to concerts. I want to go to baseball games, to hockey games. I want to be able to kick it with my homies and have a good time still. And so that's up to me to be spiritually fit enough to be able to do that and be constant and in tune with God and my spiritual program, my recovery program, and still on a level where I can have some fun. So yes, super stoked about Philly. I'm actually bringing a couple mics, so we may put out a live episode for the following week, for next week, and who knows, I might drop it while we're in Philly, of just us shooting the shit kind of and having some fun. Lots of fart jokes going on, and probably some dick jokes and some funny stuff. I mean, that's what dudes do, right? I guess that's the common cliche, at least, but we're gonna have some fun. I'm super pumped about it. Let me tell you why too, because this week has been an absolute roller coaster for Jess and I, for our family, for some of our family and friends who've been involved in this situation with us buying a house. I mentioned it on last week's show. So let me tell everybody a very important lesson, and you can learn from Shane Raymer here what not to do when buying a home. Number one, do not tell anybody you are buying a home until you have the keys in your hand. And many people told us this. Of course, we didn't listen because we thought, there's no way that we're good to go. Well, I'll give you a brief synopsis of what happened. We were supposed to close on this home loan earlier in the week, and we didn't. and the lender hit us with some conditions that we needed to take care of. And I'm not going to go into the details of it, but thank God we had some help from some family, and you know who you are out there, so thank you. We love you. And we also had a phenomenal team at Solano Mortgage in Vacaville and Rapisarda Real Estate with Christina, our realtor. So I want to give them some love too. And, without being too open on dropping names and stuff, I want to, but at the same time, I want to respect everybody. I don't know if they'd be cool with that. So we'll just leave it at that. But you know who you are, basically. We all came together as a team and really we're able to do this thing. In the last few days of it, man, it's just been so crazy. This back and forth, we're going to get it. We're not going to get it. We don't know if we're going to get it. And I want to just say something here too. It's not about the house. It's a house. But yeah, it's a house. You know what I mean? At the same time, it's a house. It's more, it's more of the process that we went through to get there. We've never bought a house before. So those of you who've been through it understand. And those of you who might not have been through it yet, or maybe you're like me and you never thought, you don't think that you'll ever own a home. I never thought I was really worthy to own a home, and I never thought I would own a home. And so to actually, be able to complete that we literally just got this word about an hour ago. So the timing of today has been crazy because I didn't know if I was going to go to Philly. I didn't know if the loan was going to finally get signed off on. And we, like I said, just a whole bunch of different components to this. And through all of this, I got a little bit of anxiety. I'm trying to lean on God. I'm trying to reach out to, I have a close homie, Josh, who I've been kind of rapping with a lot, and he's been solid on he's always a solid dude anyways, but one of my best homies who I can lean on and talk to him. And then Seth too, y'all know Seth's been on the show. I've been keeping in touch with him. And then, man, I meet with my sponsor, Buddy, and my friend. I feel weird saying, oh, my sponsor, because Buddy's a friend of mine too, but he's also my sponsor. And, we're supposed to meet today. We both had things going on. So, trying to keep it locked in, I guess, is what I'm getting at through some of this anxiety, through some of the stress. Mind you, man, there's people in the world that got way worse problems than I have. So I always want to be conscious of that. Like, this thing is very minute. Does that mean small? I think it does. Or minuscule. Maybe that's what I was looking for. A very minuscule little problem compared to what some people are facing right now in their lives. So, I don't want to sit up here on my soapbox and bitch about my little, oh my God, I almost couldn't buy a house. But at the same time, man, for Jess and I, it was a big deal. And, I've been able to stay in tune to that because there were a couple moments, or in tune to my recovery and staying spiritually fit, staying spiritually fit and staying positive through this week, because there were a couple of times when that thought popped up that just said, man, I just want to get drunk right now. I just want to tie one on, son, and just I want to let this float away. Man, I had that feeling a couple times, and thank God I can have that feeling and know that I'm not going to act on that. I can talk about it. I can tell somebody about it. And then I can kind of move on and go on a walk or reach out and to a friend or to someone I know that I can trust and talk about. And I would encourage you to do the same when you're going through something, whether it's something that's small or whether it's something that's big. That's for you to judge. Being in tune to being spiritually fit and having people you can lean on and trust and really talk to, it's huge. And it's a big part of being able to get through these things, no matter what you're going through out there. So in any case, Jess is going to get the keys to the house tomorrow. And once again, just thank you to everybody who's helped us through this process. It started out as a great one, kind of started getting gnarly and hairy in this last week, but we're glad that it's done. And so we're gonna have a new home. And that's what I was getting at. I kind of got off topic there. I do that sometimes because I got a whole bunch of thoughts running through this gnarly cranium of mine. But it's not about the house. I mean, yeah, there's a whole bunch of different components to it. People, oh, it's a tax write-off, and you're going to own a home, and it's going to change your life, and you can do what you want to it. I mean, all these things, and I'm not downplaying those. That's super, super cool. I'm so pumped on that. Like I said before, I never thought I'd ever be able to do that. So thank God and family and everyone who's been a part of this that we've been able to do that. But it's more about, for me, just, and Jess too, and this is something that we've really, really kept our faith about, is being able to have a home that we can have to open up to other people and to let them into our house, our family, our friends, our men's group, our women's group at the church that we are part of, and allow people to come into a house that, that is blessed and has the presence of God in it. Like, that's super important to us. And on top of that, for my kids, like, that's something that's very sentimental and very important for me too, is that my kids have a place where we're not moving every 2 years. We're not jumping from place to place, and we have a spot that we can kind of dig into now. Because honestly, guys, I promise you, 4 years ago, I never thought that I would have had this. And I'm not saying that to brag or anything. I'm just saying it to be humble and kind of hope to be an example that if you are persistent and you know what you want and you continue and you don't give up, and it's going to take persistence. It's going to take a little bit of luck. It's going to take a little bit of help too. I mean, Jess and I didn't do the last 4 years of being sober and going, Jess going through her depression and getting saved and, and getting a part of small groups and recovery groups and, job changes and all these things, kids and trying to be moms and dads, all these things that we go through in life, right? Just the regular things and, that life can throw at us sometimes. Like, we didn't do all that without those components. So, having faith in God, having a little bit of help from family and friends, being very persistent, knowing what we want, and then fighting through the times when we just wanted to throw our hands up and give up. Man, it's not always easy. And I'm going to take a quick breath real quick. I feel like I just puked all over. There's a lot of emotion and energy going on right now. So the timing of this recording, I think, is perfect, because it's funny. I almost started recording earlier before we got some of this news. And then things kept coming up that I had to do. So I kept having to put it off. And then we finally got that news. So let me take a quick drink real fast. All right. So I wanted to cover a couple other things today, and then I think I'm going to wrap this thing up. We're going to keep it short and sweet this week. First of all, we had a donation. I wanted to thank David for the donation. I believe David's all the way out in Australia, and he made a contribution to the show to help support us. So I just wanted to give him a big thank you. He said he loves the show and he listens to it, part of his recovery program. So thank you to him. And for all of you out there who use the Sober Guy platform as part of your recovery, kind of program and something that you kind of lean on in the week. I'm honored to have that seat, behind this mic, to be able to do that for you. I hope whatever is going on, and whether it's guests we have coming up or whether it's just me getting on here and kind of puking on the mic, as I like to say, I hope it helps you out. Also, if you want to help support us, you can do that by going to thatsoberguy.com. You can click on the donate tab. You can also go to Patreon. Thank you to our Patreon supporters who also help support us. Even if it's just a couple of bucks a month, it helps pay for the hosting fees. And this operation is pretty damn cheap now that I have equipment and all that stuff too. And I've got it down pretty good, but I mean, anything helps, and we do greatly appreciate that. And then, I mean, more than anything too, what really helps support us is leaving a review on iTunes. It just helps build those reviews up and really continue to add to our reputation as just a solid resource for recovery and trying to stay sober and be positive and live a cool, healthy ass, fun lifestyle. Like that's what it's about. And last week when I had came back from the little break, I don't know if I had touched on this. I can't remember too much. I don't go back usually and listen to all the content sometimes because it's hard for me to hear myself, and I don't like it. I'll be completely honest. Sometimes I need to, though. I probably should sometimes to remind myself. So I am thinking about that, but it's not something I prefer. But I wanted to touch on going back to last week's episode, and man, now I just totally completely forgot what I was about to. Dude, I'm 36. How am I forget? I've been doing that a lot lately. I've been completely forgetting things, like seriously in the last month, and it's starting to kind of concern me a little bit. I've never had it where I just immediately forget stuff, and it's happening more often than not. So I guess I'm gonna have to move onto something else, and hopefully that pops up later. One of the things I wanted to touch on was I had mentioned I'm going to be out in Philly. I'm going to be doing some fun things. What are some things that we can do when we are around family or friends and we're in certain environments and there's people drinking around, or there's alcohol around? I mean, we got to live life still, right? We can't be hermits and hide up in a room, for forever. We might have to do that at some point for, the first part of our recovery when we quit drinking and that kind of thing. I get it. But eventually, at some point in time, we have things that we got to be out. At least for me, I don't want to live a boring ass lifestyle and be a hermit inside because I don't drink alcohol. Like, I can still have a damn good time and be social and be myself, even more of myself than I was before when I was drinking. And that's what I'm going to go do in Philly this time. For this trip, I'm going to go have a damn good time. And guess what? My ass is going to be up early every morning, feeling like $1,000,000 because I'm ready to go. I'm not all hungover and feeling all shitty. And no offense to the homies that are going. Hopefully they don't get hangovers or anything. And I want to say too, the guys that I'm going with, I know very well. They're not like me. Like, they don't have the alcoholic addict trait. They can have some beers and be mellow and actually, for the most part, drink pretty responsibly. I'm not saying that, they've never been drunk before and they're angels by any means, but, it's, I guess what I'm getting at is, I'm very aware of what environment I'm in and who I'm with. And I feel, and I look at the situation ahead of time is what I'm saying. I look at it before I go into it. Okay. And I think that's a good point, and that's a good kind of segue into this thing is, what are some things we can do when we're around environments or friends or family when there's drinking going on? And I guess maybe we'll title that this episode. And I think I may have done something like this earlier on in the podcast, maybe episode 50 or 65 or 75, or somewhere around in that area. But I think we can do this again now because that was a couple years ago and things have changed a little bit since then. At least just in this recovery process and where I'm at today. And hopefully something, I can share might ring a bell with you. But what I was saying is I'm very strategic in looking ahead at things. And so who am I going with? Or let me take that back. Where am I going? Why am I going? Who am I going with? And what is my plan once I get there? What am I going to do? And then if I do start feeling uncomfortable or like just not having fun or not like myself, then what is my plan to leave? So you got a few things there that you can kind of strategically map out beforehand. And I've already done that with this trip. I'm just, this is the closest thing to me, so I'm using it as the best example I have right now. Who am I going with? I'm going with some good buddies that I know and I trust. They don't pressure me to drink in any way. They're very supportive of my sobriety. They actually admire it. I think in a lot of the cases, that they're proud of me, and it's cool to have homies like that know that you're on your own journey. Like, just, I'm not going to mess with you on that. So I trust them in that. Also, I know why I'm going there. I'm going to take a damn vacation. I'm going to have a good time. I'm going to a hockey game, to a baseball game. I'm going to go watch some music. Like, I'm going there to enjoy myself. And then I think it's important, even though I know all this, like I was saying, to have a plan in case I do start getting in a spot, because who knows what can happen? I don't know. I might have all of a sudden one of those weird Shane Raymer moments that are weird to me, and I can just be weird sometimes. I can get uncomfortable, and I hope that doesn't happen. But if it does, what is my plan, and what am I going to get out of there? And so I've already kind of thought that out. Well, my plan is, hey, I'm a grown man. I'm a grown man. Shit, I'm a grown man, son. I do what I'm a grown little man, but I'm gonna take an Uber, right? I'll catch an Uber. I'll go back. We got a little Airbnb spot, dope ass little spot, like right in the center of I think it's Queens Village for you Philly folks out there. And I guess I got to learn how to order a cheesesteak the right way. I'm not even supposed to say cheesesteak as far as I know. So anybody from Philly out there, I hope you can appreciate my attempt to not be too much like one of those salty ass tourists from California who's going to come out there and mess everything up. You got to say with or without, right? Yeah, I want what is it? Pepper's wit or cheese wit? Oh man, I'm jacking it all up already. Part of me wants to edit that out so I don't look like a fool, because I probably just slaughtered that, but I'm gonna leave it for you, okay? Because I that's just the way it is, man. I'm gonna do my best though, so you're gonna have to bear with me on that. But I'm gonna take an Uber if I start feeling weird. I'll go back to the room and I'll kick back, man. I got my recording equipment. I got a cool book, Love Does by Bob Goff, which we're reading on for our men's group, which I'm about seven chapters in, I think. I'm a little ahead of the game. And great book, by the way. Check that one out. Super, super legit. And thanks to Josh for recommending that for me and the group, by the way. That's what I'm going to do, so I have that plan of exit if I need to. I would encourage you to do the same thing if that comes up. Are you going to a wedding? Are you going on a vacation? Are you going to a ball game? Are you going to whatever event it is? Are you just going over to your family's house for dinner, and maybe some of your family has some cocktails? You're in that environment. Go enjoy yourself. But if you start feeling uncomfortable, have an exit plan and get the hell out of there as fast as you can. Leave it on the doorstep and get the hell out of here. All right, Johnny. I'm going. I'm going to give you to the count of 10 to get your ugly, yellow, no good keister off my property before I pump your guts full of lead. Oh my goodness. I hope you know what that's from. I cannot wait to watch that movie. It's almost Christmas time. Here's a couple other things that I have that I like to do. I like to have a drink ready. So is it Pellegrino? Is it sometimes I'll get some, if I'm at like a restaurant or a cake, every once in a while, like this time I'll probably be at some little bar area, whether it's a restaurant in the bar area, then I'll get a drink, and it'll be a Pellegrino, a Red Bull, maybe some, I like to do soda water with some lemon or some lime. That is just great for me, man. I feel just fine. I'm kicking it. I'm kicking back. I don't need to have that poison shit in my blood, and I can still have a good time. And so I set myself up like that, and that's very enjoyable to me. And so what I'm getting at is you can have something that you enjoy to drink. You can have that ready. We already kind of talked about the exit plan if it gets uncomfortable. I already mentioned that, but it's super important. Strategize before and have that ready to go. And then I know I've mentioned this, but I just hit the table. I've mentioned this, but I haven't gone into it, really, really solid, I don't think yet. And I'm not going to go too solid because I'm kind of short on time. I'll touch on it briefly here. Get right with God and be spiritually fit for your pregame. So I'm pre-gaming right now, right? I'm about to stop this podcast here in just a few minutes. I'm about to shower up. I already got my shit all packed and ready to go. And then I'm going to do a quick little prayer session and a little spiritual pregame before I head out the door. And I'm going to get right with God and with everything that's going on, that's went on this week, that's going on today. And I'm going to mentally prepare. Like, I never understood that. Like, if you look at professionals, right? Like, let's take a professional athlete, for instance, because that's the first thing that comes to mind. Or let's stick with the athlete. I think that's a good example here. These men and women, whether you're an Olympic athlete or a Major League Baseball player, Maybe you play tennis, man. Maybe you're like a superstar, like whatever sport it is, right, that you're into. You mentally prepare. You've got to mentally prepare to be on the top of your game. So why don't we take that same concept and apply it in, our regular old people who are working the regular 9 to 5, and we're doing life. Why don't we pregame like that? Why don't we take that same mentality that these, why don't we play professional is what I'm getting at. Like, you are a professional. I don't care what it is you do in your job and your career. It doesn't matter. You're a professional at it. So whether, and we should act like that is what I'm getting at. And we should feel prideful, and we should feel, proud, and we should act like that, whether it's being a father, a mother, a husband, a wife. It's in our jobs, it's in our church, it's in our recovery communities, it's with our friends. Like, we're pros, and we should act like that. You know what I'm saying? And to be like a pro, number one, we got to have a bit of humbleness, or a lot of humbleness, and we got to know where we're at. So that's first and foremost. Number two, I hear Buddy in my mind right now saying, you don't got to do too much. You don't got to overthink things. You don't got to try too hard. You need to rely on your higher power, on your God, to really provide you with that, and know that, have that faith that he's going to provide that for you, and you don't have to have the weight of the world on your shoulders. So that's super important too. And then, man, pregame for that shit. Like, be ready, for whatever situation that you're going into that day. Is it first thing in the morning? Is it going on, on your way into the office, or on your way to the construction site, or on your way to the restaurant, whatever it is that you do, man, be a pro at it and pregame for it. Think about it, strategize. What's our plan? And that's kind of what we're talking about when I tie this thing up, or what are some things we can do when we're around situations where, there's alcohol, or maybe it's just an uncomfortable environment, that makes us think about alcohol, that makes us think about drugs, makes us think about going back to that old shitty lifestyle that we used to live. And I say shitty because it was no fun for me. I don't enjoy it. I didn't enjoy it. There were some times I did enjoy, I guess, a couple times, at least in the moment, because I was high as a kite. And so I thought I was enjoying it. But the aftermath of that and that lifestyle is nothing I would wish on anybody. And I never, ever want to go back to that. And that's why I continue, to really build and try my best every day and work in this recovery program. And you can do it too. So that's what I'd like to leave you with today. You can do it too. I hope you get some applicable things out of this little podcast episode here that you can take away and use in your little toolbox, or whatever it is you want to call it, out in the real world, that can help you get through. And maybe you can share it with somebody else. I mean, hey, that's what this is about. Someone shared this stuff with me. I'm passing it down to you, and maybe it all doesn't apply to you, but maybe there's one thing out there that you hear. So I got to say too, and I'm going to get out of here. I really enjoy last week's episode and this episode. This is what I like to do. Like, this is why I started this show. It wasn't so much about building this huge platform and getting these like celebrity guests and people who are, super dope, like in their professional athletes and I don't know. I'm not downing any of the guests I've had on the show either, because I'm honored and super pumped and stoked to have had so many cool ass people on the show. And they've all been I haven't had one shitty person on that I've did an interview for that I was like, man, that guy or that girl's kind of a dick, or like they were an asshole, or whatever. Like, I haven't had anybody like that. So I'm super grateful of that. But my point is that this just feels right to me, and I hope you enjoy it too. One of the things too I wanted to thank, I had a buddy of mine, Dave, and I hope Dave doesn't mind that I mentioned this, but Dave is a cool ass dude. He used to be in the band Papa Roach, one of the original founding members, and I haven't talked about this at all really, because right before I took a break, Dave and I flew out to LA, and we did a show down there in a studio. And I still don't have that content because there's been, it's the waiting game. And it's one of those things, I don't know what the deal is with it yet. And I hope to have the content soon. In any case, I think that if we don't, whether we get that content or whether we do a new show, that's going to be really cool. And I just want to thank him too for coming on and doing that. And hopefully, I think he just hit a year coming up in June. So that was something we were going to talk about. And I'm really pumped on that. I haven't forgotten about it. If Dave's listening out there, I know he listens to the show sometimes. But we had a great time out there, and so hopefully I'll be able to share that with you guys soon too, because it was a great interview. And like I said, if that one doesn't go, then we'll do a next one coming up. So look for that in the next couple of weeks, couple of months. I'm not sure exactly, but Dave from Papa Roach, super good dude, and super good info and insight, and super good story to tell. So I'm excited about that one. That being said, do have some other guests coming up that we have scheduled. Trust me, I got a list of them. It's just a matter of scheduling and jumping back into this thing. Man, much love to you guys. Super pumped right now. I'm about to get my ass to the East Coast, all the way from Cali to Philly, son. Super pumped. Hope y'all have a good rest of the day, whenever it is you listen to this. Peace, love, respect. Keep